We are now applying those three different ways of styling into this wasp and bees website. I'm in this style.css file, well, styling.css. So let's go ahead and get this all set up, and then we'll go into our different HTML files. So we're going to leave that first line, just leave it alone. If you break that, you're not going to be able to get the styling in the way we want. All right, I think it probably showed up wrong before. Hopefully this is now what you see. All right, so we're leaving that first line alone, and then we're going to make some rules, and we're going to move pieces into them. So it wants us to make a rule for the body. So body, curly bracket, and I did the starting curly bracket, hit enter, and it typed in the end one for me. And then inside is where we're putting a color and background color. Those are down here. Now what we're going to do is if you click on the line you want, hold down the Alt key on your keyboard, and then using the up arrow, I can move it out of that comment and move it up inside the body. So now if I refresh, well, I don't know if it'll work yet. I don't think we've connected it. Let's see. Background color. Again, we're going to move that up inside the body with Alt and the arrow key. Okay, yeah, so it looks like it is connected. Perfect. Okay, and then hyperlinks inside the nav. So for that, we're going to do nav space A for the brackets. And then inside, we're going to pick one of these and move it up. A rule for the H1 and H2. So if we want multiple things selected at the same time, H1, comma, H2, that will select both of them. And I'm going to grab a font family rule and put that inside. And then for all paragraphs, I'm going to put that last one in there. And then for images, IMG. And then we'll put our width 50 in there. All right, so let's see what that does. So it has different fonts. And that's really all we can see here. There's this whole bunch of text up here, and that has to do with the index page. So let's jump over there. And what its problem is we have the link, and then we have what is supposed to be a internal, not inline, internal. Right, it's in the head, but it's missing those style elements. So I'm going to do my style start tag, hit enter a couple times to get some space, and then I'm going to highlight all of that rule for the header, Alt, and move it up. So now it's inside that style element. So now when I refresh, why is it? Oh, that's the wrong. Yeah, I know what's going on here. These are comments for a style sheet. So we're going to bump that inside as well. And again, Alt key and up and or down arrow keys. All right, so now we refresh. That's inside the, because all of that stuff is inside the style element now. It's now applying to that header, right? So we have a header with wasps versus bees inside. You see that here, right? Header with wasps and bees inside. So now those styles can actually apply to it. Now for a new thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a rule that selects the body element. So again, this is body. Well, oh, I'm inside a comment still. So let's get outside the comment, body, curly bracket. So we're going to make a rule that selects, let me scroll up here. All right, so we're going to make a rule to create what's called a background image. So background dash image colon, and then URL parentheses, and then inside the parentheses, we're going to pick the image. So if you go to images, there's this wasps versus bees.png. That's what we're putting in here. Wasps versus bees.png. All right. Oh, that's weird. Why doesn't it work? Okay, let's go look. So here's my image that it's supposed to be pulling up. So let's hover, see the file path, images, wasp versus bees. Okay, I forgot to add the folder. So to the index, images / wasp versus bees. Now I refresh and I have okay, there we go. Now I've got this background that instead of just being a color, it's actually an image to function as my background. And then we also said change the background size to cover. So let's go ahead and do that. Background size cover. And for that, to see what's going on, let me open in a new tab here, and then let's zoom out. So right now, you can see this image. That's not what I wanted. To reset the zoom. It's not really showing up too well. Sorry, it's a little different with the software I'm recording with. But basically, if sometimes you'll have an image and it won't be big enough for the screen, and if we want to make sure it's all, I already have background cover, that's why. So if I didn't have that, refresh. Anyway, I don't know. I didn't take a good picture to demonstrate that. Anyway, so we're going to save that, refresh, and then let's zoom back in. There we go. Okay, so inside my style element, this was already here, and it just did this semi-transparent background color, which this 0.5 on the end is where that's coming from, and then text line center. We added the background image. We're going to add a rule that selects the H1 and changes its font size and gives it a text shadow. Okay, cool. H1. Font dash size. And let's go 2EM. That didn't quite go as much. Let's try 3. Refresh. There we go. A little bit bigger. Okay. So we've updated the size, and then we want to give it a text shadow. So on the assignment page, I actually have a link here for you for the text shadow. So let's go see what text shadow does. So try yourself. Okay, so here we have text dash shadow, 2 pixels, and then a color. And then instead of that, let's just do red. And then just to show you, if I change that to 1, you see how it kind of shifted a little bit? Or if I change this first one to a 5, so the first one shifted it pretty far to the right and then a little bit down, right? So you can adjust those. I just start with 2 pixels, yellow. Okay, so let's click in here, text, shadow, 2px space 2px yellow. And we hit refresh, and there's that cool little outline effect. And then we want to text align to center. So main, curly bracket, text dash align, center. And if you notice, what happened is the images actually got centered because those images are inside the main. So create a navigation element with 3 anchor tags. So yeah, we're just building a nav bar. So nav, inside of that, a space href equals, equals quote, index.html. Close the start tag. Oh, bring another one, a href equals, let's not forget the pages folder this time, pages slash wasps. Well, actually, we want bees, then wasps. Bees.html. Honey bees. Okay, so I made a mistake here. See how the quote is there? And so honeybees is blue. So I need to go in here, put the end quote where it belongs. And then one more, a href equals pages slash wasps.html. Close the start tag and wasps. That's all that's saying. Okay, so after that, we want to fix the order, right? See how I put the orders in for the alt. So 1 should be paper, then 2 is the hornet, 3 is the bee, and then we want this Italian bee last. So hold down the alt key, move it down. And then paper wasp, see how it's not working? Let me zoom over. You see how it's not working? You can see the alt text. We need to figure out why. So if you look closely, you will see that in the folder for paper wasp, it's actually typoed. It's papware wasp. So I'm just going to rename that paper wasp dot jpg, and then refresh, and now they work. Hooray! Okay, so that is it for the index. Now we're going to go to the wasps page. I'm going to close out of these others, and then go to wasps. And look, there's a sound. I don't know if you can see it here. Let me zoom back over here. We have a cool little audio clip. So exciting. All right. So here, we've already got this style element. Let's see, it says fix the link so it connects. Oh yeah, because it says style.css, but we are in the pages folder. So we got to do our whole dot dot slash. Refresh. Still not working. Okay, what else could it be? Oh, styling, not style. Okay, file names matter. Change the background color of this page. Okay. So that you've seen before. I'm not going to redo this here, but change the background of the body, make it a different color. So I've changed the background color. Just like I said, you can't see it. Then it wants us to give the images a yellow border. So img, curly bracket. So with borders, we can do this property with multiple values. So border, and then we can do solid, space, yellow. Okay, and that'll give it the border. Margin of 10 pixels and float property of right. Okay, cool. Margin 10px, and then float colon right. Now when I refresh, that float value put these images over to the right. Number 3, paragraph, font size to 3VW. Cool. P, curly bracket. Oh, how did I double curly bracket? P, curly bracket. Font dash size. And then 3VW for view width. Refresh. Okay, so now it's much better sized. And then we're going to add padding, which is a gap inside the element on the edges of it. Padding 30px. Oh, there we go. Padding 30px. So now when I refresh, you see this edge gap that's made by the padding. So let me zoom over here. So that's what it should look like right now. We've got the images floating over, they've got the border on them, background has been changed. Okay, but if I go home, before that image popped up, did you see that that still has the yellow background? That's because we did it internal, not external. All right, so back to wasps. Add an inline style attribute to the following image to give it unique border radius. If you want to read about border radius, I've got a link here. But border radius lets us make these cool little edges, right? So I like this one here, 15 pixels, base 50 pixels. So let's try that. So it's inline. So style equals quote, and then border dash radius colon 15px space 50px. Refresh. There's the one. And then we're going to do a different border combination for the other picture. Perfectly square or exactly the same as this is not allowed. It needs to be different and still styled. All right, so we've got the pink background, we've got the different positioning floating, the font's been resized, we've got the borders with the different radiuses applied, and that is it for the wasp page. On to the bees. for the bees page, we want to link it to that external style sheet. So I have my link start tag. Inside, I have the REL. I did that D before. Style sheet, href equals style. Oh, well, gotta leave the pages folder. Okay, so it's connected. We want to add the internal style using style tags. So here's my style element. Now you want the style element after the style sheet so that it overrides things that are in the style sheet. Okay, so inside we wanted to have text decoration underline. Oh, gotta select it first. H2 curly bracket. Text decoration underline. And when I refresh, it underlines my H2. And then we want to change their color. Let's go like brown for honey or something. Okay, change color. And then we're going to add an inline style attribute to the H1 to center its text. So add a style attribute. What am I doing? style equals quotes text align center. Oh, yeah, it's kind of an odd thing to try to send because the honeybee has add a background color here real quick so you can see background color orange. So when we say, okay, so I don't know why it's not appearing centered here because when you go to the full screen, then it is centering. So that just must be some glitch in the system. Moving on. All right, so for here, the source attribute following the image is not working because, well, it is working. But see how inside the pages folder, oh, I gotta move over so you can see it. So in the pages folder is a carnelian bee that I drew and it's gorgeous. And then in the images folder, there's another carnelian bee. And that's the one we're wanting. So what you have to do, let me jump back here, is we need to update that so it's finding the picture we're wanting it to find. Okay, so right now we're in the pages folder, so we need to leave pages // then go into images / and then find our bee. Okay, so fix that picture. The next one isn't, the image just plain isn't working because we need the // to leave pages folder. And then you have the two. Okay, so quite a bit, but it's just good practice with doing internal styling, inline styling, and external styling. Save, submit that URL, and you're good to go.